He nods. Okay. Oh, I'll get to that. What else? What other things are you gonna ask? Or bring up?
Um,
So that's
let's
3 days.
see.
So three things you've told him so far: the hateful flesh, that there are factions, and I'm assuming you just give him a brief overview of the factions. Like, there's these crazy chefs, and there's a weird farm place, and there's a
Mm,
Knoll army, or something like that, right?
for the ones that we actually experience, like the farm and the chef and all those, I think those would get their own individual days. But like the ones that we basically heard about them, but we don't know much, that would probably
Okay.
be a day within those like three other factions or something like that.
And then a day with the
Um,
old gods. Okay. So far, if you give him that, I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 days worth of stuff so far. Continue. Whatever else you want to tell him.
I was gonna, over the course of my downtime when I'm not crafting, I was going to try to hand draw or recreate the map that we saw of Dis on that one table as best as I can, and I try to do that, and then I'd give it to Voth and be like, on your last day you talk to him, give him this. And I wouldn't
Uh,
label it. I would just literally try to recopy what I saw on
okay.
that table.
With that, I need some sort of crafting check. So give
Okay.
me something on what skill set you're going to use to redo.
So I was just going to use my crafting skill. Is that okay?
That works.
the only
That was a
one
bad roll.
that instead of going to him, I think I'm trying to remember Gehenna. We learned about that from the gods, not from Tiamat, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Gehenna stuff, that would be something instead of bringing to the quartermaster, I would try to find a way to get that straight to Tiamat herself. If there was I guess, if she had some sort of herald or something like that, I would try to get an audience with him so it could be brought to her.
Okay, we'll role play that part out. But anything
Mm.
else? What other things are you going to tell, if anything? You don't have to go more than what you've already done, but I'm just trying to get a list of shit I can
Yep.
give you. So, is it
See,
any of those?
how are the fact that magic is pretty much absent from the place.
Okay.
Obviously the whole weather thing. Um, and then what was the other thing I had? You knew about the fact that fire can kind of burn down or burn back all uh the stuff that comes in there.
Okay.
Just because who knows, that could be useful.
Sure.
One other thing, it just fucking slipped. Uh, oh, the pillars of fire.
Oh, Souls Escape.
Okay. So, with that,
You're just giving him
one,
everything.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of you going back and forth. That sound good for now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I give a couple more crafting rolls then?
Uh, let's do. So if you're gonna do that, let's do this. Let me see. I had to reload the thing. What did you roll? A 16 crafting check. So you can do as many more crafts as you want. What are you drawing it on? Just paper?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and you can try 7 more rolls if you want, one a day. I'd say, because it'll probably take a couple hours to like get as detailed as you want. But yeah,
I was going to use my human skin paper.
okay, that's really gross. But yeah, you can
It's more
definitely use that.
authentic from Dis that way, though.
Yeah.
It's definitely a more authentic map.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was going
So
to build it in pieces. So instead of it being on one piece of paper, like different
it's
sections,
okay.
like you piece the paper together, kind of
Okay.
like a puzzle.
Well, then let's say there's 9 pieces of paper.
So just a
Okay.
human flesh pelt map.
Yeah.
The goal. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So give me let's get 8 more rolls. You got a 16 for the
Okay.
first one.
And we said my character was doing weird shit.
Good. Okay.
4,
Okay.
5.
Right, so the lowest is a 15. On that day, that's the one you don't feel the best on. Is there any other thing you would want to do to try to increase that roll? So you said you needed 3 days to move the rune. You're
Yeah.
also taking a few hours each day to do these drawings. One of these days, you can take a little extra time and try to redo it, or change it up, or clean it up however you want.
I guess I'd just try to redo it. Like, try to take the ink off of the page and then start over.
Okay, I'd say it still leaves a weird little bit of scarring underneath because you had to draw on it. But yeah, you could. I'll let you do one reroll.
One ink eraser.
Yeah, and a 29. So the lowest
Pretty good
then
reroll.
becomes a 16, and the DC was not that high. So you're pretty satisfied with these pelts you have kind of put together that were all pieces of clothing or blanket or something at one point. You kind of can lay them all out, and Ondol looks at them and he's like, "That is a gruesome map, but I could follow it from most of the places." He's like, he can kind of trace where you guys started and followed and stuff like that. So he makes note of it and he says that's pretty good. Someone with a high survival skill saying they could use the map, so works for me.
Beautiful.
All right.
So yeah, on your last day, that's where I would give you these and have you trade them.
Nice work.
Thank you. It's nice to not be dripped on regularly.
Yes, I think I used to like the rain, but I definitely am glad not to have it anymore.
I'm sure I'll miss it one day, but not now. That's for sure.
So, over the course of 8 days of you talking, he gives you the remainder of the items that you would need to have an adventurer's pack over 3 days. So you can just take away the backpack and just put adventurer's pack, which comes with a backpack, a bedroll, chalk, flint steel, a nice rope, a couple weeks of rations, and they're actual food rations. They're really good. Some soap, 5 torches, which in here I would say you could replace the torches because you don't really need torches in Avernus, but you could if you want. I'd say you'd have them, and then a water skin that's actually made of good stuff and resilient and tanned hide rather than people like back of a person. So you'd have an adventurer's pack, and that was over 3 days that he would give you this. He also gives you 2 hooded lanterns. He's like, there's a lot of dark places here, and he says, I don't know if you can see in the dark like a lot of creatures. He's like, but this would be good. He's like, there are ways to enchant this as well. You're a mage. He looks at you and he says, I'll take it that you can use this however you want. The next thing he gives you is a box, and this is the day you tell him that about magic being absent, and he's like, that's an incredibly useful thing. He's like, what an equalizer. That's an incredible thing to know. And he gives you a small box containing 2 elixirs of life and 2 alchemist fires. A piece. So a total of 4 elixirs, 4 alchemist fire.
What level?
It's the base ones. Like,
So there's ones that we that are like level 5 that are meant for like level 5. Would those ones make sense? So it'd be lesser, or so minor's the lowest, lesser would be the second lowest. So lessers make sense.
how much does it heal?
A lesser does 3d6 plus 6.
And what's the minor?
Minor does 1d6
No additional bonus.
plus 1.
It's just 2 minors. Yeah. So he gives you little tiny baby things for little bits of information. Don't worry.
Okay, so it is the minors.
Yeah, they're little. They're little stopgaps. Like you should be pounding these things, right? Also, I need to give you consumable loot for 3 levels of below below level 5 shit. So there's a lot of that. He looks at you, and then on the 7th and 8th day, as you're telling him the stuff, he's got a good ream of paper with all the details he's written out. There's also notes he's taken in between those, so there's like several other pieces of paper based off stuff. He starts listing old gods and things like that, potential things. He asks clarifying questions, and I'll give you an answer. If you want to add more, you can, but you don't have to. The first thing with the factions, each day you tell him about a faction, he asks for the things you'd expect a military person to ask for. Size, force structure, stuff like that. Do you want to give him information on things like that?
Yeah, I'd give him information on that.
Okay. Alright, cool. So I'll add that. He says, old gods are there, dead gods. The gods died and went to hell. He chuckles and laughs and says, who did you run into?
I would not tell him that.
He goes,
All right, at least tell him that would be something that is, at least from what he's been giving us so far, way beyond. Like, we're talking, you've got to give me something real fucking shiny for that.
okay. I'll address that in a second. And then he says, the pillars of fire. He's like, how often do they come down?
How often would I say I saw him?
I saw like maybe 2 or 3 up close, and the rest you could see off in the distance. 1 or 2 a day, maybe.
I'd give him that, but
Okay.
it's spread out.
All right. So with that and the additional information given, let's do.
Oh, and every day that he goes to talk to him, I go with him. Just to stand there quietly.
Okay.
Make sure we don't get eaten.
Yeah,
Traveling in pairs is
that's
good.
my goal. Yeah.
Gotta at least be dinner and dessert. God.
He gives you. He gives you 2 climbing kits.
The normal one or the extreme one?
Just the normal one.
There-
Actually, you know what? With those bonuses, he'll give you 2 of the extreme ones.
I'm not even sure. It's literally like a
It's
35
extra
GP
rope.
difference, so-
It comes with pulleys, grappling hooks and crampons and stuff, rather than just like rope and hammer and pipe and stuff.
I
like
mean,
that.
having a portable pulley system
It's a
ain't bad.
fucking legit fucking set of stuff.
I could do something with a pulley system.
Yeah. With that, he gives you that, as well as he gives you 2 other items. One, he gives you a compass.
Ooh. Eyes get wide because I only imagine how good something like that is here.
He tells you this is not what it looks like. He says, this is a powerful magical item. He says, it's very good, and it'll function as what it is. He says, if you happen upon your journeys to find small stones that feel magical and you can invest in them and they float around your head, they're called Aeon stones. If you find them, this compass will hold one right here, and he shows the little spot inside the compass. This is a wayfinder. He's like, it will protect the stone, still give you the bonus of the stone, and it usually does an extra stuff. As well as, he says, I know he give you lanterns and things like that, but sometimes you want the fire and sometimes you don't. And he casts light from the wayfinder. That is what it is. He says, I will give you this. It can cast the rank 1 light spell anytime you want. And it is just an activate. It's an action to concentrate on. That's it. But it'll cast light. So you have a Wayfinder. All right. And then the last day, when you present him with the map, you fold out the item and show him it. Correct? I'm assuming, or how do you present it to him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You go ahead.
You're the
No.
showman. You do it.
You're the. So this thing's pretty fucking big. Like
9, basically back size of person's back.
Fuck, dude, that thing's massive. Then, so this thing's a fucking tapestry. How big's this like dude's standard desk?
It's huge.
Bigger
He
than
has
that desk?
he has like the whole like outside of a keep has a built-in like little covered warehouse area, which is just stacks and rows of gear and stuff like that behind some bars and stuff.
The only thing then with the size and how big the desk is I'm gonna make sure that we have a nice little bow for it. And I'll definitely walk in and make sure that I do a grand unraveling of the bow and kind of do that slow, just kind of spread across the table.
With that, he's kind of like his eyes go wide.
Let's check.
And he says,
Greg, do not fuck up my beautiful map.
he doesn't fuck up the map. He just he
performance
fumbles
check,
unfolding it. It's an impromptu thing.
Yeah.
He goes to unfold it and like make it like a big ta-da. He's like, oh shit, I gotta spread it out, and there's like wrinkles and stuff. And
It's a lot bigger than I thought it was.
And it's heavy. It's fucking leather. You have a huge leather tarp that's a map on the back. You're like, okay. With that, his eyes go incredibly wide, and he's like, oh, now this is useful.
So I look at him and I say, I made this because you've been nice to us. And I explain, and I piece it all together all perfectly. And I explain that it's not as beautiful as the one I saw on the table in Despater's office, but this is close.
His eyes are incredibly wide at this point.
Especially because you just mentioned that we were in Despater's office.
Yeah, I figured I'd just drop that name a little bit.
He says, fold it. He's like, put it away.
Okay, so I piece it back together.
And he takes it and he puts it in his own bag. He doesn't put it anywhere else. He puts it in his own bag. He's like, this is valuable. This is very valuable. I have a few things I was going to give you that I think are compensation for this. He comes out, and there's these two, he sets a box on the table, and he sets 2 rods on the table, and then he puts a small little bag on the table, like a satchel. Like, all this is yours. Opens the box. The box is probably designed to hold about 10 potions in it. There are 2 bandoliers, potion bandoliers. And inside those bandoliers, there are 4 potions each of lesser elixirs of life. So the 30 gold piece ones, which is the 3d6 plus 6. So that's 4 of those potions apiece. Actually, say there's 3 bandoliers because Ondol probably gets them too.
I'm imagining everything you said. There's actually a copy of Ondol. Yeah.
So he gives you that. So four of the lesser elixirs of life. A potion bandolier, which is an item. The 2 items are these large. They look like ash wood. They have bronze caps on the end. And he says, these are very valuable. He's like, these will become what tool you need when you need it. He says, both of these can turn into what you need, no matter what it is, given a moment. And he says, simply twist the caps and think of what you need. And he's like, for example, let's say you need a sledge. He twists the cap, and it slides open, and it goes into like a pole, and then he twists the cap again, and the ends come out, and a bronze like looking capped sledgehammer appears. He's like, twist it again, and he just twists it, and it folds right back down into the little rod again. He's like, let's say you needed something more precise. He's like, let's say you had to do like some sort of, I don't know, close in work with small screws or something. He screws off the cap and pulls out a slender screwdriver and a wrench and little tools like that. And then he's like, when you're done, put them back in, twist the cap, and collapse back down. He's like, it can be any tool you need. There are some limitations, but he says most basic toolkits can be crafted with this. He's like, it just requires clear focus on what you need while you're thinking. And he gives you 2 travelers, any tools. The useful fucking items. One of, he'll give you 3, because there'll be one for Ondol too. But they could be most basic tools. Right? And then in the sack, he looks at you guys and he's like, all right, for this map, and he's like, I can kind of piece together some of the places that you've said, I think, or at least I will make sure I make note of it, he says. I think there might be... He's kind of like debating on what he wants to do, but he looks at you both and he says, I think there's a few things that would be good for you. Nick, you said you have crafting.
Yep.
What feats do you have for crafting?
I have chemical crafting, and I'm probably going to take magical crafting next level. I don't have inventor. That one's kind of a bitch to get, unless you're an inventor.
Nah, not anymore. You can get it level 2 now.
Really?
Yeah, you just need to be expert in it now.
Oh, well, yeah, I wasn't an expert at level 2. But yeah, don't have magical crafting. I think those are all the crafting feats.
There's some other ones, but those are the major ones you need to do all
okay.
the cool stuff.
He is going to give you he says, I put inside the satchel, he says, there's a book, formula book. It has several things I think someone of your capabilities of alchemical knowledge would be able to put to use. It's like most of it's military application things, bombs and salves and things, but they could come in handy. So I would say pick like 6 recipes you want. They would have to be, double check.
Your basic level 1 comes with 6 level 1 common recipes or something like that.
That's
so.
what it is. Yeah, so commons. Yeah, it's the... Yeah. So, on top of the ones you know, you can pick 6 additional. They have to be commons. But past that, whatever you want to add in there, he would add in there. I'd say try to thematically pick things like bombs, healing salves, things that remove disease or curses or things like that. Things that an army on the go would use, but you can technically just put whatever. If you can make an argument of like, yeah, this is what they're going to use, or they could use this in a marching army, that's what it would be. So
All the charisma potions I could ever need.
Woo!
And then for Greg, inside the satchel as well, there is two magical wands in a bundle. a magic wand of a first rank spell of your choice. Anything you could use to cast. And then the other one is a wand of legerdemain. It's a little black wooden wand that's lacquered, handle wrapped in basically rainbow colors. Then you stop and look at it, and it's not rainbow colors. It's the 5 dragon colors of Tiamat. A silver little bell caps the wand's tasseled little pommel, and you can use it to do different stuff. You make yourself the center of attention. An illusory spotlight shines bright upon your space as you pull inane objects from the wand's tip, such as confetti, silk flowers, streamers, long string of colorful kerchiefs. It's literally a magician's magic wand. But I would say don't theme it like whimsy and crazy. It's bravado and show, right? It's built, but this is built by fucking evil dragons. Basically, you can make you use it to make enemies make a will save. If they fail, they become fascinated until the end of your next turn. The spotlight follows you when you move. That, I wouldn't say it's a spotlight like a whimsical, like you're on a stage.
It's an air.
There's an aura. There's like a dragon's aura of, ooh, this is important. You have to pay attention. But it does look like it's some sort of glamour. I'll let you describe that when you use the wand, however you want. But it's very much like, it's very much it's one of those things you carry around with you all the time. Just, like you just use it to fucking be big bravado guy. Okay, so there is that. There's that, and additionally there is a item for Brett's character, which is, look it up.
While you're doing that, one other thing I'd know, obviously he's doing exchanges and stuff like that. Do I ever notice soul coins, or what I think would be a soul coin, kind of lying around? Are those like everywhere? Are those rare?
So give me an Arcana check first to see if you know what they are. I would say DC 18. Not too incredibly difficult. You rolled a 19, so 26. You kind of understand what those are. You've heard about them or read about them or something like that. Maybe not know the perfect intricacies of them, but that they are a currency down here, and that they are exactly what they say they are. It's a coin that has a soul inside of it. You see several being swapped back and forth. They are iron, like a kind of a a shiny iron with like almost a glow to them, little bits done. But they are given for very unique items or two very powerful creatures, but they are being exchanged.
Yeah. So if I wanted to get even a single one, I feel like that'd be probably a big ask.
It's a huge ask.
Okay.
That you like. Okay, you could do it. You could definitely do it. It's all gonna rely on, do you think you can sell it? This is you're basically bartering for an item.
Are my lawyers always with me?
They are following you, yes.
I've got a piece of soul information for a soul coin that I'd sell for it.
Can you write this down for Brett? For the Wayfinder, there is a stone. Or it's not for the Wayfinder, but it is a stone. It's a consumable magical item called a barricade stone. It looks like a little dice.
Is it a cube or a stone?
Yep, it's the cube.
Yep,
okay. The cube. It's a little dice that will actually make a temporary emplacement if you guys need one. One-time use though, so that's the only bad part. But all right, so you walk me through this. Let's see. So let's roll a dice. Let's see what creature. is going to do it. I would say there are 3 creatures that come up here that have an exchange that would end up with a soul coin. Um, one of them we'll do 4. We'll say Dirok has 1. He was given a soul coin as payment to like shore up something for another item that a dragon came and got. So Dirok has 1. There is a green dragon that has 1. There is a red Abishai that has 1. And then there is green dragon, the red Abishai, and then there is just a big dragonborn. Of those 4, do you want to choose, or do you want me to roll to see which one you're gonna go after?
I know I have something I can give Durok. I just don't know if I have something I can give the others, and that's pretty much the only.
Well, Durok's already given you a lot too, so I mean, there is that. You know he has a lot of stuff, but how much is he willing to pass up? Because he's giving you things for free for his own personal gain, so he's probably matching, the ledgers with his own shit. But
yeah, we're trading information for goods, and he's using that to
Exactly.
get a promotion. So, let's go with one of the dragons.
so
Was it just the?
there was a
Was it
green
a green and red?
dragon, and then there was a red Abishai, which is the devil
Like-
creatures. They're not half dragon, they're not dragonborn, but they're humanoid dragons that are actually fiends. They're devils. He's a red one. He's a pretty big boy. But...
Let's go with the green dragon.
Okay. The green dragon. All right. So as you approach this dragon, he's just dropped off a bunch of stuff. And in return, he's asked for gold and platinum and gems and a soul coin. He actually asked for a couple soul coins. He is given a couple for what he brings in. And you can approach him. He's sitting there simply trading in goods. So what is it that you do?
Oh, so he was trading to get just a singular soul coin, so he's just got the one?
He brought a bunch of stuff to the quartermaster that he doesn't need or want, and got paid out in gold for it.
Okay.
And then some of the gold he gave back and said, "Oh, actually, can I get a couple soul coins?" Got a couple soul coins.
And then all that gear, stuff like that. Did it seem like this is stuff that he might have gotten off corpses, or something he might have built, or something like, what kind of way does he come in here about this?
Give me a perception check. All right, let's see. A set 16 total. From what you can see, based off of what he's handing in, it looks various. Either he crafted these or he picked them off of corpses. They don't look bloody. They don't look beaten. They don't look new.
Yeah, but there's no like no easy to observe unifying sigil.
It's not
on
like
it.
it's not like
craftsman
10
stamp
swords
or,
or like
Yeah.
4 sets of armor, 4 swords, 4 magic bags, things like that. It's not like it doesn't reach your brain as thinking this is not gear stolen from individuals. This might be several different pieces. It doesn't look like it's taken from. If that makes sense.
So I just kind of examine his transaction, and I'd just kind of be like, as he's pulling out the stuff, kind of giving that like approving, like, that's some good stuff he got there type thing. And as he's kind of doing, or after he's kind of completed the transaction, counting his coins, stuff like that, be like, that was an interesting haul you had there. I was bringing back similar from Dis not too long ago. Seemed to have a interest in a lot of different ways.
Give me a persuasion check, because you just dropped the word. Yes, you
It's not the only
did.
word I know is useful right now.
Like, I just got back from my trip to North Korea or some
Yep.
shit. You're like, what the fuck? No one goes there. That place is fucked up.
Uh,
Shout out to all our North Korean followers.
yeah, exactly. Oh god. You know what? I'm a hero
15.
point that one.
Sure.
Oh,
All right.
much better.
A 23. He says, "Ah, yes, you were the curious pup who comes down here in the mornings, who gets things from the quartermaster for interesting information that you guys are hush hush about. Yes, there's a lot of that that's been going around. Thank you. I've acquired these items through various means throughout my travels down here and the vanquishing of Our Lady's foes." He kind of gives a bow and he says, "Our Lady," and he says, "It is nice to see the appreciation of a whelp."
I'll just kind of look at him and be like, yes, I aim to better myself and for the further goals of Our Lady. As I kind of give that same bow back to him, I'll be and I'll kind of look at him and I'll be like, our offers for exchange of information extend to any willing to trade for it. I actually do have a interest in soul coins. If you were perhaps interested in any information, you'd be willing to trade for one.
Soul coins. And what would one of your station need a soul coin for? Although I am interested in this information.
Well, within that question is a source of information itself. The reason that I wish for the soul coin pertains to my explorations in Dis and research I wish to do pertaining it.
Hold your cards close to your chests. I can appreciate that. I'll tell you what. I will trade you information for information. Does that sound fair?
Indeed.
I know of the location of Soul Coin and the creature who has it, and I believe you and yours could probably easily take them down. In exchange, you must tell me something you didn't tell the quartermaster. I need a bargaining chip against him. He has an item that I need, or want, more correctly. No need to lie. He has something I want that he's being very jealously. He's guarding jealously. He seems to really enjoy getting this information from you. So if I had something like that to tell him, then I will tell you where to find this soul.
That seems a fair enough trade. And I'll kind of get real close to him as that kind of like hush hush type thing as well. And I'll be like, the reason I search for a soul coin is that souls within, or vessels within Dis can contain more than one soul. I wish to understand how a vessel can, or how a vessel holds a soul. And I believe a soul coin can help me understand that.
Soul coin is a vessel. Interesting. He looks you up and down. And where do you keep the dagger?
The dagger, so for me to benefit of it, or because you said I could benefit through it through my unarmed type stuff, so I imagine I'd still have to have it equipped in some way though. Since I don't have to use it, I'd imagine I'd keep it concealed, especially since I also know what it is and where I'm at right now.
Where
Because
are you
this is
concealing it?
I'd probably say, rather than like the small of my back, the opposite side, so towards the front. So if they are taking a look at it, they're looking at my bulge. But I am wearing
So
like
your
robes. So I'm like
your
wearing
appendix
robes
carrying?
though.
Appendix
Yeah. So.
carrying a dagger. Okay.
Mhm.
Don't sit down too
Bold
hard.
move.
Yeah.
Don't know if I would do
slice
that.
slice your whole
I
dick
mean,
off.
it is in a sheath, so I
It's true.
mean, huh,
All right,
I don't
so
know about you. I don't carry fucking sharp daggers without any protection on it.
let me ask you this, and I'll give you the choice between two skill checks to do this. Do you think this is more of a stealthy approach? You're trying to keep it out of sight of people, or do you think this is a more deceptive approach? You're trying to make it look like it's something else.
I'm gonna go deceptive.
Okay, give me a deception check to see if you beat his perception.
They're looking at my bulge.
A 30. Okay. He looks at you and says, "Now that is a very interesting conundrum. To have multiple things in a container, wouldn't the container just break?" Curious. Fair enough. Outside of this, out the front gates, and he kind of scoffs the word gates. He kind of stretches his wings a bit. He says, "Out of the front gates, 2 days walk, or 1 day's run, for someone like you, to the west. If you go that way, you'll see the remnants of a crashed vehicle I destroyed. It was full of individuals who needed their goods liberated. In the name of Our Lady, of course." And he says, "Amongst the wreckage there were survivors, and I let them live, so they would go back and tell the tale of how those devout to the multi-headed goddess's forces behave, and how we would not suffer those in our territory or in its adjacencies." He says, "There is one there, a fallen one. Kill her, she has the coin. Beware, she commands small legions of the lesser, most less of devils. Mere husks, still training, they are her foot soldiers. They are not hard to take down, but in numbers they can be troublesome. She, however, is another question. She will be very hard to strike down. I'm assuming you know what an Arrhenius is?"
Greg didn't hear you. A what?
An Arrhenius. It's basically a fallen angel.
I would say my character has no fucking idea what that is.
You'll know her
My
by...
character know what that is.
Make a religion check, sure.
Okay.
I come from Jesus Bible thumping religion days, so yeah, no, I don't know that type of angel.
20.
You know of them. You know little, then they are the bailiff of hell, whereas you have the lawyers of hell. This is someone who is more like a marshal. They're, they go out, do the investigation, and if they have to put someone down, they put them down. If not, they tie them up and bring them back to where they need to go. They are very much rank and file soldiers, stronger than your average devil, but not to the point where they're unbeatable. There are plenty of very known and powerful versions, but the rank and file of them is pretty good. Any weapon they touch gains like the fires that fuel them. So it'd be like a flaming arrow. If they take a longsword out, it'd be a flaming longsword. They can charm and confuse people. They have the ability to make people tell the truth. They are very, very potent in hell because they're still technically freshly fallen. That is a question, though you're not quite sure. How do they have more? How do they keep getting more if they're all fallen angels? There's a lot of gaps in your knowledge, but you know enough to know it can fly. It's probably going to shoot fucking hella nasty fire shit at you, and it can command other things. So.
Okay. When
But
he
yeah.
brings that up and you're kind of like giving that pause, I kind of just put my hand on your shoulder and I'm like, I know of the creature.
He's like, good. And you know they're not to be trifled with. but they're also very manageable if you play your cards right. She has one. If you liberate it from her, you'll save me the trouble of doing it later, and that knowledge that you gave me will be well worth it.
I appreciate the knowledge of my elder. My name is Voth. Yours?
I am Firimer.
Here. And then what? Could I gauge what age he is?
Somewhere between young and adult. He's not 16, but he's not 30. He's probably like 21.
And older than me, but not the oldest. Got it.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
But
He's
I
about
still
the
get
size
what
of.
you mean.
He's a little bit bigger than a horse. He's like a big ass horse. So
Yeah.
still pretty young.
He's also probably the most likely one to pick a fight with me because he's also that I'm just bigger than you, but not bigger than anybody else.
Exactly. He'd still get experience. You don't count as a dishonorable kill yet.
Yeah. I'm not gray yet.
You're not grayed out. I'm gonna go grab some water. What else are you guys doing?
Quartermaster wise, I think that's all I've got for him. The only other thing I know I'd know is so like obviously I don't think I'd be talking to him for 16 hours straight every day. I imagine, or on the first day, I'd want to. So there's a different library in every tower. The first day, I'd kind of try to go to each tower and just see if each library has like a theme or like a, just what each one kind of contains, or if it's just random at each one, and you just kind of gotta roll the dice at each one. No, so first day I'm going to hit all of them and just see it very quickly if there's like a theme to it or if there's again if there's bits of knowledge on everything in each time. Because I imagine if you got one per tower, they're a little bit more likely to be split up by a topic. Okay, I'm going to use the bathroom real quick, so I'll make those rolls in a second.
Okay. While he's doing that, what is Horace doing? I know for 3 days you're doing rune work.
Yeah.
So make your checks if you have to.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. I should pass. It would be a DC 17 normally
Okay.
to just move the magic from one item to another.
Sure. Then you nail it. After 3 days, you're able to move it.
Cool. So I do that. Like I said, most of the time when he's like, I'm going to go exploring, I would stop what I'm doing to go and protect him. Most of the time I'm just stoic and quiet because I don't really want them to know that I speak Draconic.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I keep my halo tucked in the whole damn time. What little information I would have tried to glean from people, or at least listening, is if mortal souls are constantly going to dis, what are they fighting here? That's
Okay.
more what I'm trying to learn from people is okay, if the mortal races aren't coming here, how are they refueling their souls and what are they fighting over and who are the players? That's more or less what I'm trying to learn.
Ian, how are you trying to garner that? Just by listening to them? Are you asking them questions? Or how are you coming about this knowledge? Or wanting to try to?
Yeah, I guess I've been trying to listen as best I can to people.
Mm-hmm.
If the quartermaster guy was being chill about it, I would have just asked, like in passing, like, what's the war between you guys about? Yeah, that'd be a big one. And then I guess I'd be trying to just gather knowledge. If anybody stands out that doesn't look like an angry dragon, I'd be trying to see if anybody's willing to chat with me.
Okay, so that sounds like perception checks. It's going to be your biggest thing. So let's get one for
Okay.
each day.
All right. 1, 2. How many days do you want?
He's going to go to 4 different things. Let's start with 4. So do 4.
Okay. 3 and 4.
Okay. So as you accompany him around to the different places, being observant mostly, you definitely hear the squawkings of people talking in draconic and hushed tones that Voth doesn't pick up on because he's buried in a book or trying to find a book or whatever. You note things, you see sights, smells things, and just kind of run into it daily, hourly. There's someone's trying to spot you guys, right? Look at you, pick you apart, see what makes you tick, just observing. And you notice that from everything, from great dragons to little whelps to guards, everything. The air of you're being watched is very much so alive here. While you're sitting there transferring runes or just being observant, whatever you're doing, you do note a couple things. No one's really talking about the war. You do know they kind of bring up, oh, yep, there's, incursions here and there in places you don't understand. A couple places you pick up, you hear, like, famous sites, the Styx, things along those lines. The Blood Cathedral, things like that. So they're fighting, and they mention demons. I see demonic incursions. So that is a thing that still happens. Now, that's what you pick up passively. Each day, you do get little bits of juicy gossip here and there. One, there is some gossip. There are 2 individuals who believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that you guys are tests. You guys are put before them by the queen as a test to take what is rightfully dragonkind's. And there's 2 individuals that want to take you down. The second thing you garner, and we'll say this is in the Blue Dragons layer. You get that not everyone understands why you're here, so there's a lot of talking about that. How are they here? What are they here for? You hear one very old blue dragon say to a couple young ones, he's like, well, don't you know, if a mortal breaks out of hell, that changes all the old, in these sanctums, you know that you can say things and people can't hear them, right? It's localized to that. He says, Asmodeus will lose power. They're spitting in the face of cosmic ruin. They're basically, well, I mean, it's like a container, like a pitcher of water. If you poke a hole inside of it, all the water's going to eventually start running out. You spill a few drops of that water, the container's still there, and it's going to hold all that water. Once you poke a hole in the side, or in this case, pull a piece of that container off the side, well, they just open the floodgates. Now, there's other things in place, don't get me wrong. Asmodeus is a smart cookie. I think for all of this to take place, they'd have to step foot in heaven first. As long as they don't go there, it'll be business as usual. But as soon as they step foot in those heavens, all hell's gonna, well, break loose. Quite literally. And the 2 are like, oh, wow, that's crazy. So should we keep him here, grandfather? Or he's like, oh, no. The lady has a plan for them. They're allowed here, so we should just trust in her. She knows better. And the two young dragons are like, "Oh, thank you, grandfather." And he's like, "Good, good, good, good. Now I expect you to come clean my scales later on." And they're like, "Yes, yes, yes, grandfather." And they go about their business.
Is there no way I couldn't have heard any of that?
0% chance.
Damn it.
You are so deep in books. This is just the observant, quiet guys stuff.
I want to wink so bad.
You're here for the story, but not all of it. So that being said, the next day, the last thing you can kind of glean, the major bit of information you glean, is, and the questions you were asking are, who are they fighting? If all the souls go to Dis, who's coming here? You do remember that while you were talking to the quartermaster, he did mention that everything goes to Dis. He's like, the only things that are here are people who already have their souls claimed. So things like that. And the other thing you do pick up, native born people down here don't belong to anywhere except for here. So if you have two devils that make another devil, devil belongs here. If you have a dragonborn and another dragonborn have another dragonborn down here, it is now fiendish. It belongs here. That's where it goes. There's a taint that it seems that follows the place you are at when you were conceived. You're not sure if that's the way it's supposed to work, but you do pick that up a little bit. That it seems the only thing outside anywhere that the only other way for other races to exist in these places is if A, you're on the prime material and that's where they exist, or if you're here in hell, it has to be something crafted in hell or something who's already has its soul pledged to something powerful enough to grab it. In this case, probably Tiamat. Or the Hellworm. You don't know. But it seems that ability to have your soul pledged to a certain place might change the way you go.
Or just as a general question, does everybody pay tribute to Tiamat, or does anybody happen to say like our Lord Hellworm as well?
You haven't heard anything about the Hellworm.
Okay.
No one says our father. They always talk about the lady.
Just curious. I guess I'll do mind checks now.
Okay. So, yep. Is there anything else you wanted to do, Nick, with that, or that's pretty much what you garner throughout the days?
No, that seems pretty good.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay.
Nice, 20.
So dragon lore, first one is a 17. That's for the white dragons. 20 for blue dragons, 15 for black, and 29 for green.
5. Yeah.
Okay. You don't necessarily need the fifth one, but
Yeah.
it's all good.
Next, I guess.
All right. So without a doubt, you understand everything about the white dragons. Most brute-like, gifted with a good constitution, very physical, not the most intelligent, but it's like saying, a college educated person isn't as smart as a doctor. They're still pretty smart in their own ways, right? That one you have no problem with. They are gonna want to see a show of power and strength to get it. Not a problem. As you you can add that stuff in. As you make your way the next day, you would go to the blues, which easy. Blues are like cats. They're hunting animals. They're peculiarly inquisitive. They have an incredible cunning about them. They are sinister in the way they design their traps and their layers and all their things. And they use their ability to call lightning and stuff from their mouths and their bodies to do things to their surrounding, right? Like, they'll make traps out of lightning glass, or they'll do something where they can liquefy a bunch of stuff with their lightning breath and drop, superheated glass onto somebody. It's a lot of very vicious, disgusting, but very, hey, they're using what they have to the nth degree, right? um, Not a problem. With black dragons, the day you get a 15, the only thing you can really kind of garner from what you would need to do with black dragons to get into that place, black dragons seem to be they're entitled. They feel as though they are the apex of a predator. They are the perfect thing that uses their environment they're good in and capitalizes on it. You know what I mean? But you kind of you feel like that's the one you're the least sure about, black dragons. You do know that, you know about black dragons, but for the most part, you're kind of like, I don't think there's been, you know, you haven't read a good study on black dragons, just like maybe some big name black dragon. And then with your nat 20 for greens, yeah, you understand them. They are super intelligent, super inquisitive. They like to be right. They like to talk. They are very much. They like to, almost like the blues, where they're cat-like. They like to toy with their prey. They like to just. Everything's a lesson. Everything's bigger than it needs to be. It's always, there's more to it. There's a ritual about how they do things, right? So yeah, good enough to get into all of them. I won't make you roll performance checks. But the blacks, let's just role play that part out a little bit. So just briefly tell me how you would act to get into each one of these places, and then we'll role play the black ones out.
So the white, knowing that they're kind of power and brawn and all that kind of stuff, as we're like trying to, go into their gate and that kind of stuff, it's more of I've got chest puffed out. I just go there with purpose, not like, asking for permission to do it or anything like that. If I'm asked, I'll, tell them I'm going to the library and continue to try to go about my way. If I'm blocked heavier than that, I'll deal with that as it comes. But it's very much just I'm walking here, stop me if you're going to.
And you'd use like intimidation to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I actually have a feature that kind of gives that like air of bigness of me. So even if I don't share language, I can intimidate them.
No, you picked the right skill. So you went through there, and they absolutely are like, okay, he belongs here. He's walking like he's got the cock walk going on, the little fucking bravado rooster, and you're able to go inside there. When you get to the blues, what would you use to get in there?
So when I'm like entering all these towers, like what kind of a scenario am I walking into? Is there just like this automated guard? Is
Guards.
it like
Guards
okay.
guarding the way.
And is it an actual dragon? Is it a
It's Abishai mostly.
Mm.
These ones are blue at the blue one, right?
Mm.
There's dragonborns and things like that. And there are dragons, but none on the outside. Looks like all the dragons are inside the towers.
For the blues, I guess I'd be more of like the funny juicy gossip lately. Or have you seen anything fun or interesting? Have you been entertaining yourself? Because I very much, when you say cat-like, it's very much I think self-pleasure. So it's very much the what's your what are you looking for type thing.
Okay. And what skill would you use to get in there?
Let's see here. Let me go look at all these ones again. I guess in this case it'd be a bit more performance-y.
Okay. Give me a performance check. Okay. 20 is good enough. They let you in. All right. Let's go to the green. You got a nat 20. Just how would you get into the green?
So for them, since they're chatty, I'd either try like the chatty route, or more if they're wanting to go like the what does this whelp know kind of a thing. If it's like an older one, I'd kind of go down like the what I know of dragons and the lore of them.
Okay, so lore dragon check probably,
Cool.
which you rolled a nat 20 on, so you're good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 26. Yeah, that would get you in, and they're like,
Green
okay.
dragons really like me. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, green dragons. Pretty much, you think you get along with green dragons the most right now. As like you talked one into giving you the location of where Soul Coin is. They actually enjoyed talking to you at the tower. You get in, and the last one is the black dragons. So when you walk up to there, there's two Abishai, and there's a large wrought iron gate that blocks the path to a blank wall. Each one of these had a blank wall that they were guarding, but you know that they'll open it up and it's a magical portal inside of this tower. As they get there, they stop you. They go, "No, no, no. You may have been able to get into these other ones, but you don't belong in here. This is for the dragon kind only." They kind of puff out their chests.
Yeah.
Look like they're...
So I'm going to. So when I use a wand, like how. So I'm wanting to use like that wand of Leisureman, right? Is that like something that's like super, like you said so it's like a part of the R and stuff like that. So are they aware that I'm like casting this magic when I'm doing it, or is that just part of the
Well,
bravado when I'm doing something?
you'd have to take it and hold it to activate it, but past that, I'm gonna let you describe what it looks like when you activate it.
Okay, so I imagine since this is something that's all about like the show, that this is more of like I might have some sort of like hide it up a sleeve when I'm trying to cast it type thing. I'd be kind of trying to do that, and I would kind of go more reverent with the black. So I'd basically be like, a whelp as myself could never help or could never hope to measure up to the legendary greatness of what an ancient black might be able to. I merely hope that such a meager vessel might be willing to or might be able to get more information in or for the betterment of the lady's realm. I'm gonna use like the wand to kind of help fluff that up a bit.
Right? What skill you're trying to like? You're trying to placate them. So let's do persuasion or deception. Are you doing anything to help him with this check, Horace?
I got Eminem on my shoulders. They're being dicks. You trying to placate them. I'm really bad at placating people. Yeah, I'm actually untrained in that.
Like I've never tried to do it. I just do violence.
That's right. There's really no
Very sound like
violence.
him
Violence.
talk.
Yeah.
It's either safety on or safety off. I'm either cold or hot.
Yeah. So yeah, when they stand kind of at that, I guess trying to look more big and bad. I guess how big are the dragons?
So these are Abishai. They're not
Okay,
dragons. They're probably about
dragons.
7.5 feet tall. Pretty lithe though. They're tall just because they're
Skinny.
They're very skinny. Yeah. These ones are pretty like they're athlete build. They're fairly strong, but not as big as the white ones. Not as angular and cunning looking as the blues, or as regal as the greens, but they look brutish almost.
Can I use my dragon lore skill to what the fuck am I trying to even think of here?
I don't know.
What would I try?
You don't have to do anything. I just figured to give you a chance to help.
Yeah, well, I want to try to help. I'm trying to figure out how to help. He's trying to be nice. I'm not very good at being nice. And I guess I would try to use my dragon lore skill to see what do black dragons really try to appreciate more.
Okay, give me a dragon lore check.
Not good.
Very similar to what Voth kind of knows. They are the best thing in their environment. They are an apex predator kind of thing, but it's less that and more they are the land kind of feel. It's like their environment they're in is usually swampy. They can breathe underwater. They can blend in with the decay. They can do everything. They are the embodiment of the place they exist in. You know what I mean? But you kind of can't be like, well, what do they like? Like
Right.
being the best in their swamp. Right? They like ownership. They like the things that dragons generally like, but you can't really put your finger on exactly what it is.
Okay, then in Draconic, I would not say too loud because my character is way too prideful. He would say, "We are trying to understand what it is to be an apex predator here, and to learn that we want to go to the best."
Okay, so diplomacy at 27, and I'll give you a +2 bonus. It's 20, 29. Any other bonuses? Any other thing else that you want to do?
Actually, yeah, because I'm thinking we might be exactly a +1 off, so I'll go ahead and blow my Cloak of Repute +1 bonus.
Okay.
Want to make an impression check?
A 30, which would be a critical success. They look at you and they say, because if you didn't, they were only going to give you a little bit of time in there. But they go, we can understand that. They both kind of look at each other for a moment and they go, whispers in that old Draconic that you guys both know, but they don't think you do. He's kind of like, they're trying to do right by us, brother. We should let them in. I don't trust them, but okay. They let you in. Full rain, no problem whatsoever, and you're allowed to check out all your stuff. All right, so I'll tell you what you can do while you're in there. Nick, you've already kind of done your thing. You've listened and got the stuff. The blues told you about the stuff. The blacks told you about some stuff. They're probably the ones who, are the nicest, actually, now. And then the whites were the ones, they're like, there's people who want to hunt these fuckers down and kill them. Like, there's two of our boys are going to kill these fucking idiots. Like, it's a test, and they're going to die. So, that's what you get out of that. But, Greg, while you're in each one of these, each one of them is a library of knowledge collected by certain dragon types. So it's all sorts of knowledge, but it's in the focus of that dragon type. What a red dragon would collect versus what a white dragon would collect versus what a green dragon, black dragon, blue dragon, so on and so forth. So they will give you a bonus to a knowledge check, or a series of knowledge checks, however you want to do it. It depends on what you're trying to find in each library. If you theme it or look at it from the point of a dragon, there might be an additional bonus, or there might be better things to find. Like a red dragon might prioritize certain things over a white dragon, right? Like if you wanted to do something on magical fire research, a red dragon would know that way better than a white dragon would. So use that to your benefit. But it is a vast collection of different knowledges and different things. So you have 5 knowledge checks you can do, one for each library.
Okay. I'll come up with appropriate questions for that.
You guys can brainstorm. I mean, this is just you guys in the session right now. Ondal's off doing his own thing. So, I mean, you guys are both there. Nick, you can definitely be like, you should look up this here, or that's a good idea, or maybe we focus it in this direction. And I will tell you, there are librarians, and they will help you, but they're not going to tell you where anything is. So this is just going to be a blind roll to kind of see if you pick out the stuff you want.
And library-wise, is there different like ways of organization? So I mean, like the white ones, obviously they weren't, obviously like you said, they're still educated, but they're not the doctor educated. So I mean, is their shelves a little bit more unarranged, so it's harder to find a particular book, or is everything still properly Dewey Decimal System in every library?
It's probably properly put together. You would find the thing that the white dragons have more of than the other dragons is scrolls. Quickly, hastily written things that they never thought important enough to put into a book. They just kept in a scroll. Whereas the Reds had some whelp sitting there copying scrolls to book for perpetuity reasons, like that. So there's always a little bit of that. The Whites have a little bit more purpose driven. So there's lots of scriptorums rather than libraries. So there's piles and piles or rows and rows of rolled parchments and vellums and sorts and things like that. But you have one for each one question or one research topic for each area. So
And just since I'm not sure if I missed it or not, so for red, for like descriptive terms, so like white I've got like power and brawn, blue cunning catlight. What's the red ones I'd put? I'm not sure if we did a description for them.
rulership and power.
Okay.
Like Reds are power. Like they are A, they're physically strong, B, they're elementally strong, C, they're fucking magically strong. So they're kind of like different ways to garner power. They're very warlike, very red dragons. Yeah, go ahead.
Where a black chases for self power, a red chases for overall. So whether that be nation or realm or whatever, they will use everything as a thing. Where a black will see others as a thing to consume to get better.
A black dragon wants to be the master of its domain and doesn't concern itself with building an empire. It concerns itself with its swamp being the best swamp and has the best stuff in it. And he takes the things he wants from places and brings them to his swamp. Whereas a red is like, I'm going to take this kingdom and the kingdom next to it, and I'm going to burn this one down because they're idiots and that stuff. A red dragon is an empire focus, whereas external focus, whereas the black dragon is more internal. A green is a little bit larger than a black. They usually do forests and whole areas like that. Blues, they layer like blacks, pretty much. And the whites usually own mountain peaks or like ice valleys or some incredibly hard to get to, out of the way reach, and they're the master of their domain as well. But reds are very much empire builders. And they're very warlike, and they fight each other a lot. That's why red dragons are very strong.
And then I know I didn't hear it during the moment, but those things you overheard, Horace, would you have told me?
Yeah, in our room when people aren't looking around.
Good to know. Good to know. Knowing that we're getting jumped by white dragons.
Yeah, that'll be a day. I was gonna ask you this because I actually read through the feat that I didn't read last week. For Gift of the Horde, it says our eyes begin to glow and change colors, while our limbs and neck grow a veneer of scales. Did you pick the color for each dragon type of us, or no?
You get to pick which head you got a blessing from.
Okay, and it's only black, white, red, green, and blue?
Yep. The 5 heads of Tiamat.
And then question for me, so I already would have had Underworld Dragon Scales, so would I now have a more darker version of that, or would I have a second color?
What do you think? Do you think your bloodline's very specific dragon type would outshine a magical blessing from Tiamat?
I do not. I think that it would be multiple.
Okay, there you go. Answer's done. I didn't have to do
My
anything.
body is a fucking whore.
It is a
My
dragon
buddy is
whore,
the
yeah.
biggest dragon slut. Like, I am the bad dragon website. All of
Oh
it.
my god.
Oh God.
All right, your next magical item's a dildo. Just putting it out
There it
there. It's a
As long as it
bludgeon.
gives me a strength bonus, I'm good to go.
Well, it gives you a bonus of swords. So yeah. Let's
You're the
see.
one looking at my bulge.
I'm not looking at the book. Look, I have to play the rest of the
Your
world.
dragon
Okay.
did.
Oh, man.
All right, all right, all right, all right. So, you got the 5
So-
questions, and then you have about like 3 other days of time to do stuff as you wish.
And I guess so. These access to libraries, are they restrained to 1 per day, or I mean, because we
No.
haven't been told
No, you
overall
can-
length we could stay here. So
Yeah, I'm just going day by day. So this, you
Mm.
said each day I'm going to go to a different one. So you'd have 5
Yeah.
5 days, and you said you were going to be using the library for the day. So that's your day. So you have 5 days of one in each color, and then you can go back to other ones.
Yeah.
Wherever you want. You just said you're doing 1 in each place, so that'd be
Yeah.
day 8 is where we would get to, and that would be where we pick up on what else you're doing and how long you're staying, and what your plans are. What other creatures would do to interact with you?
So I guess green would be, I'd be looking for more of that soul information I'm looking for. Black, I would be looking for kind of the comings and goings of Tiamat's realm itself. For white, or for, actually wait, so for black I would actually be looking more for like the, no, I take that back. White is where I'd be looking for just all of the things in this like level of hell. So all the major like what they'd hunt down, their weaknesses or just what to watch out for.
Okay.
For red, I guess this is where I'd more kind of get, I'd spend the time kind of just getting the layout of like the structure of Tiamat's realm. So obviously, we've got Tiamat, Hellworm, who else is kind of would have say over things? Is there like, for each dragon type, do they have a leader? And then for blue, I imagine they'd have like books on more hearsay type stuff. So I'd be looking for more of like, I imagine they have almost like a monthly magazine or some shit like that with like the gossip. So I'd be looking for like the gossip columns in the blue.
Okay. All right. So just to recap, red, you're looking for the layout of power. You're looking for the who does what. White, you're looking for information about Avernus itself and its denizens.
Yep.
Blue, you're looking for rumors or gossip from this hell that you find yourself in. Green, you're looking for information on soul stuff. And then for black, you're looking for specifically Tiamat's realm information, things about that. Okay. So let's do, for the layout of power, you can give me a, let me double check. Let's try.
I think dragon lore probably makes the most sense on that one, right?
Not necessarily. All right.
I know eventually I'm gonna have to break out a society role. I guess society might make sense for this one too.
They all make sense for what you're asking, to be honest.
That's true.
I'm glad you're asking, because I am not proficient in that at all.
I luckily have something that gives me a small bonus to everything, but not much. And I'll take a +4 over a +0, but
Sorry.
Okay. I will give you 2 options. One, you can roll a lore of my choice for the thing you're looking for, or you can make an argument on the skills you have that might be relevant to this. If you have me roll or pick my choice, it's going to be direct knowledge about the subject that you're looking for. Even if you're not trained in it, you can look for it. If you're trying to base it off of stuff you know, you have a better chance potentially, but it's going to be more focused knowledge. So, we'll start with the red. You can give me a fiendish lore, or you can make a a case on any other skill check that you could use to determine lore for. Your pick on that.
In that case, I think it's more appropriate. I'd take the fiend lore thing, just especially with just how little I understand about the hell itself. So, we'll go ahead and just since that would be the same as what a religion check would be for me. Let's just roll that. Oh, and a good roll. So 20, soft 20.
Okay. For whites, you can make your argument, or you can either roll society or survival.
I'll do survival for that one.
Okay.
Still not great.
All right. Okay, and then for blue, rumors in hell is either going to be society or deception.
Finally, something I'm trained in.
What'd you get on the white one?
The white one was a 16.
Okay, and then society or deception for blue.
24 on that.
24. Okay, and then for green, you have soul information. That's going to be an arcana or religion. Or esoteric.
I'm assuming I can't help him with any of these.
So while he's
Let's
doing
do the
this,
gossip.
you're doing the gossip. You're doing
Gotcha.
that out. I would say if you can make an argument for being able to help him very quickly and not taking up a lot of time, sure.
Well, Abaddon follows us around all the damn time, and he's pretty good at some stuff, so he might be like, no, and like point with his little claw at the book and be like, that's the right. You're wrong.
All right, I like that. So Abaddon.
Funny enough, for the survival one, that makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah. So I would say Abaddon would net you a. You could either take a +1 or you could reroll. Your pick.
17 total or reroll, Nick. It's Abaddon. What do you think? You get to make the pick.
If you reroll, he like pounces on the book and rips it open to a different page or something like that. If not, he goes, no, it's here, and just kind of puts his claw there. He's reading over your shoulder.
Fuck it, go with the reroll.
I'd say that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fucking
and
paid
you're
out.
That's why I said it.
Mm.
There it is.
23, good fucking change. Alright, and then for the Black Dragons, Tiamat's realm specifically, that one's going to be Dragon Lore. Dragon Lore or Society, your pick. So, fucking nat 20, okay. Okay,
Failed the first black check, but then made every other one
so
excellently.
you think you get along well with the green dragons, just behavior-wise. But the way the black dragons have things set up, you are able to fucking. I get this. They are all about them, their thing, that shit. You get that. That resonates with you.
I totally
You
haven't
pick up
had that
stuff.
ego at all.
Yeah, you totally have.
I
the whole
totally
time.
haven't had black dragon energy this whole time.
Big black dragon energy the whole time. All right,
Had
we'll
the
start
BEE.
with red. Fiend lore of the layout of power. All the DCs were 20, by the way, so there's 2 of them you got pretty spot on. Let's go with that. Fiend lore, the layout of power. In the first level or the first area of this area, the Avernal Plains, there are 3 bases of power. 1, there is the Lord of the Realm, the blacksmith. His name is written down. It's Barrick. He is a mortal who transcended power and was blessed with the ability to create a black flame which consumes and destroys everything it touches. Beric rides a nightmare horse, and he is said to lead charges himself. So any skirmish in Avernus could have a chance to have Beric in there with his riders. He has a few individual magics that are unique to him, and he has made this realm very safe, as he has large, heavy cavalry units and armored patrols that move around. He is the top dog. He literally has divine morphic power, and stuff like that. The next would be the Hellworm's forces. The Hellworm's forces are interesting. You learn that the Hellworm himself is a newer addition to this, so within the last couple hundred years. He came in and was able to infiltrate and find the good graces of Tiamat to where they are now a thing. Both of them rule together, but she maintains the face while he maintains the fist. He is incredibly powerful, stronger than her, rumored. It says rumored that he's stronger than her. But he's definitely got the wiles to gain her favor, as he walked in and basically did that. Below him would be Tiamat and her forces in Tiamat's realm, the Dragon Peaks. Past that, there are larger demons. Bel, a powerful demon, exists here. He used to be the ruler. There is, besides that, there is the ghost of an angel named Zariel, slain in battle by Beric. Past that, there is just a handful of small, local powerful creatures. There is an individual named Mad Maggie or something like that. She runs these infernal machines across, which transport goods and creatures from place to place, as well as the Onodemon Chiron, who from time to time makes his appearance on the river. But
She works with Chiron?
No, he just kind of exists in this realm from time to time and is a player if someone messes with him or what he does. But he exists here sometimes, not all the times. Depends on where he is. But he is a powerful thing. Past that, everything else very localized. There's very few huge, powerful things, and it's always in constant flux. But it says those are the ones that have stood the test of time. There's a few subnotes in the Tiamat's area. There is a powerful warlord named Archon the Cruel, who is the right-hand man. There is Tiamat's handmaiden, who has special privilege amongst the realm. And that's about it. The next day, the White Dragon area. Information about Avernus. A 23 survival gets you the following information. One, Avernus is a very blasted wasteland. It is hard to grow things here. It is hard to survive here. It's very dry. There's not a lot of water, and most water that you do find is pretty tepid and gross. Most of the devils don't have too much of an issue with that, as they don't really have the need to eat or drink all the time as they get more powerful, but the lower level ones do need that. Their death from that is just thought of as penance, as they get recycled back to a Lemur and have to redo their life before they make imphood. Past that, it rains hellfire, brimstone. It's the traditional sense of what you would expect. Lakes and rivers of fire and blood exist. There are older demons which have carved out some spots here that still resonate in the land. There's a demon called the Sibriex that has the ability to shape flesh. That was very prominent here and did so with great disregard to everything. There are plenty of places to resupply and do stuff. There's a mention of a place called New Eden, which was a city that was destroyed by Beric not too long ago when he took power. However, it is rumored that there's a lot of survivors from that place scattered about who've made small little enclaves and places like that. There are countless temples that dot the landscape to various dark gods and deities, as well as devils and demons. There's spawning pits, places of torture, all that, what you would expect. Basically, you played through Descent of Avernus, you know most of the stuff is there. That kind of stuff. But this is more traditional D&D style hell battlefield. This is where the blood war rages. You know that this is the place where there's a constant battle between demons which are crawling out of the pits of the abyss and the devils which stop. There is little in the way of a map that's provided, as it seems to be mentioned there several times. It's constantly shifting, and those in the know have it. It's one of those things where if you involve yourself in the blood war, you will know where you're needed. And you have a feeling that Beric has a good grasp on, as he is tasked with this. All right. From the blues, you wanted rumors in hell. I'll get back to that one. Green, you wanted soul information. I'll get back to that one. Black, you wanted Tiamat's realm. Tiamat's realm is ruled by Tiamat. She has absolute control over it, and that area is divinely morphic for her. Beric technically could come in there if he wanted to, but she still has control over it and can change it the way she wants. She can literally, with the power of thought, create and destroy like a god in that small area that is hers. Usually the caldera, the volcano, and a little bit of area surrounding the volcano caldera. That's how she creates the Abishai and things like that. She reigns supreme. She has a cult of dragons that literally called the Cult of the Dragon, which do various tasks throughout various realms, throughout various places. However, the Cult of the Dragon is led by a Council of Five, which no one knows the identity of the Council of Five, but it's the most powerful or most chosen dragons. That right below the Council of Five in importance is the Handmaiden, which is her. She calls her daughter, but no one knows where she is. But a red dragon of great power. Below that, the forces of the scale, which are led by Archon the Cruel and his followers, which are all different races, but all of their souls have been given to Tiamat freely, and now all the individuals reside here. But they were people from different planes of existence that have gathered. Below that, below the force of the scale, is the Pact Riders, which are some Gith who basically have a pact with Red Dragon kind specifically to have a certain amount of Red Dragons to fuel their war effort that was given for great power long ago. So the Gith, there's a large contingent of Gith here, which don't seem to have souls that go to heaven or hell. They seem to return back to the astral plane. Some sort of weird thing. But past that, that's Tiamat's realms in a nutshell. There's smaller military units, and everything's run by like a junta or military junta style leadership, where the top of the food chain takes care of the lower of the food chain, and they have different various roles. So it's basically just a military dictatorship kind of. So that. So do you want to do the rumors or the soul stuff next?
Let's go with the rumors next.
All right, rumors. You guys are rumor number one, as you find a freshly inked set of missives and scrolls about you guys. Like, is this a big thing? Which leads into a few rabbit holes, which one particular one you find that's interesting mentions one of the rules that Tiamat spoke of, or that Dis Spader spoke of, the rule of the Court of the Dragon. You look into that one, and you find it's an ancient law. set out by, yeah, I would say, the great goddess herself, the mother goddess, Kethra. She said that in each realm of existence that exists, she would put one of her chosen creations, dragons, as a guardian of that realm, and they would, in these realms, would grant a modicum of their power to that dragon. Prime material, both the Viridia and the Oshai, so Feywild, the Shadow Realm. Artura has one, Heaven has one, Hell has one. There's also one for the Spirit Realm or the Underworld. There's one there too. There's also one for the Astral Plane. But each one of these realms should have a dragon. The rule states that when a dragon needs to pass on that power, the power will remain until a dragon comes to claim it. You hear throughout the day looking for rumors, because you were looking for rumors in hell. Would you put down this gossip, or would you go further into this gossip? Because you're going to lose out on rumors in hell and go down a rabbit hole.
Oh, I'll
Or
definitely
you
go
can-
down this rabbit hole. It's about
Okay.
us, of course.
Yeah. Well, it's more about this.
Yeah,
more about
about-
this thing. You rolled well enough to get it. So, with that one, you learned that. Okay, so yeah. With that one, you learn that the rule stipulates that if there is no dragon, any dragon can go and take it. You start to think about that. You have an interesting, thought process on this. As you think about that, you can feel like a tugging from inside that wants to claim that wants to take that power, which would, any dragon would probably want that power, right?
Mm.
But you have a lot of different dragon energy inside you that's kind of like, ooh, take, right?
Was that one? Did I feel like one very specific, or was that like a group? Just
There's a lot of feelers grabbing.
Yeah.
Grabbing.
Okay.
Right? There's a tug from that idea, that concept. There's also the speculation that you read further down that no one's heard from Bahamut for a very long time. Tiamat's despicable brother and her followers, who split the dragonkind so long ago into two groups and ordered different things and massacred and imprisoned dragons who didn't follow, and just this big long tirade on how bad he is, pretty much. No one's heard from him. And if the rumors of what has happened in the heavens to be true, he's probably dead. Which means there's a vacant seat. And by law, cosmic law, all it would take is a dragon to go up there to claim it. Which probably sets your mind fucking ADHD squirrel mode for the rest of that day.
Mm.
Alright, Green. Next day is soul stuff. What specifically are you looking for? And this is Arcana that you rolled, correct? Not
Yeah.
religion? Okay. So what exactly are you looking for soul stuff?
So right now, the way at least or Greg's envisioning this whole thing is, so, I'm this amalgamation of souls. When I try to go reach for whatever this is, I hear one grand scream rather than it almost an individual. So I'm basically trying to, within myself, compartmentalize that to where I can potentially try to communicate with each one individually.
Okay. So you want to, internally, you want to be able to take one of those voices, put it here, and deal with this one without having to deal with these ones.
Yep.
Okay. And that is in the Green Dragons. Let me just check one thing.
Or the other route he'd look to go about it would be a way to almost generate like a self-soul space to where he can, materialize himself and them and almost have like a grand council chamber almost style to it, or even just like if you imagine a demi-plane, a self demi-plane. One of thought, of soul. I mean, I'm a monk too, this all makes sense.
Okay. So as you're looking for things on soul magic, things that a green dragon would know about soul magic, or how to talk to things from different, how to isolate and talk things. There's a lot of like ancient texts from great worms and ancient dragons and things like that, which talk about how green dragons are very solitary creatures. They may exist 2 or 3 of them in a forest, but they never run into each other unless they absolutely have to. And how they'll stalk their predator, or they'll stalk their prey for a very long time, extended periods, just to see if they can do it. Right? They have more fun watching someone walk all the way through their realm to the other end and attacking at the other end, and just making them on edge the entire time they're inside there, to do it. So there's a dragon who talks about how he terrorized a group of mages and how they used their spells to try to outwit him and seek him out, and how they were close several times but not good enough, and how the ability to kind of isolate and put yourself almost inside of a shadow or inside of a ray of light, or be one with a stream, or meld with stone and things like that. He's like, I wonder if you could do that as a meditationary practice, and get in touch with, the rest of, all dragon kind. He had this grand idea that all dragons were tied by some magical force so they could talk to each other. There's some spell work and some stuff like that that's incredibly advanced, but it kind of has the trappings of spells that you may have heard of before, like Trap the Soul, Soul Mirror, things along these lines, where he was like, I wonder if I could isolate my own soul and put it somewhere so I could go other places, like astral projection, right? That's the theory he was going down. But in that exploration, and kind of just like in that whole thing that the green dragon embodied, he found he could isolate his soul and almost project it to different places. And you're wondering if you could do that, to project your soul directly to one of those things and kind of put just you two in a spot rather than do all this. The magic that it's talking about is intense. It would take an incredible amount of study. You could probably devote a lifetime to this. But very high level magic would be able to do it. He then goes, there's got to be other ways, cheap ways to go around this. And he starts mentioning items and things like that he might be able to, which you quickly probably scribble down. And I don't have them right now, but I can, if you want to pursue that, I can come up with some leads for you to go after for items. But yeah, a lot of it is, how can we do this? You have an idea that a green dragon might not be the best for this, but maybe he's on the right track with maybe not grabbing that and moving it here, but making myself very specific and going to those spots. I might be able to do it. I can manipulate myself better than I can try to manipulate a soul from afar. So that's what you get from there. It might be easier to go to than to bring to. It would require less power on your part. You think. At least that's what the green dragon.
Makes sense.
Okay. So, no worries. I figured that's what you were doing, Nick. You look very intense.
Yeah.
Fucking.
They're like, cops are here. Why? Well, I don't know. That's not an answer.
Well, figure that out, then call me. That's probably a good call. All right. So, after 5 days of doing all this stuff, it's the last day. The 8th day was the Black Dragon stuff. So Tiamat's realm and all that stuff. You have a very nice looking set of gear now. Very uniform. Some Tiamat livery and stuff like that. Put together. Your weapons are good. You've got some food. You've got some equipment, things like that. You've got some knowledge. You have a few tasks you can perform. One to get a soul coin. Others you have learned a lot of little bits of lore from digging through these libraries. You finish up the day at the Black Dragon Library and head back to the Red Dragon room where Ondol's waiting for you. What do you guys do next? I'm not rushing you out of here. If you want more downtime in here, take all the time you want. Just remember the world keeps moving, but
Yeah.
I mean, really, right now, there's really not a lot pressing on you. No one's gonna come in here and try to fucking drag you out that you can think of. But,
Except for maybe those whites, but
that's racist.
yeah, exactly. So we haven't heard anything really pressing time-wise for. How long were we in Dis?
Roughly
we
2
feel?
weeks.
Roughly
Or at least
2
It
weeks.
felt like
know
felt like a couple weeks of time, maybe give or take a week. But you don't really know. There was no one keeping track of days. There was no days to keep track of. You kind of woke up and slept, and when you felt tired, and when you woke up.
I'm more trying to gauge the. I like to represent my character's mental state the best I can. So we went through a lot of psychological damage during
Mhm.
that. So
And
I'm
you
just wondering,
yeah.
like, okay, after 8 days, do I feel like my character's had enough R&R to be ready to set forth into hell again? Especially if we're not in any rush. And
It's definitely a different feel up here. It definitely feels like more of the storybooks of hell. You can see devils walking around and looking at you. None of them seem to want to chop you up, but you think it's because of the area you're in. You've been afforded very specific protections here, for the most part. But it's still hell. Every now and then you see fire rain from the sky. It smells like brimstone. It's very warm. In this area, it's not overly warm. And in fact, in the White Dragon area, it was actually pretty cool. It was pretty chill, all things compared. But, like, for the most part, you are in, like, a resort in hell. If that makes sense. So, I would say, yeah, you probably don't want to leave. This is the nicest it's been in a couple, as far as you can remember. And you're still probably in the middle, like in the nights and stuff like that, you're processing all these memories that are coming back to you as well, which you didn't take any time to utilize your rolls to try to go after certain memories, which you definitely are able to. But I mean, it's up to you what you want to do. I know you're trying to get your bearings and keep your heads on a swivel, so that might not be inward reflection time. Might not be the thing you want to do. Up to you how you handle it. But it's the end of day 8 of you guys chilling here. Where are we going from
Have
here?
we seen the handmaiden at all?
No, you have not seen her since she dropped you guys off.
Okay.
I'll say obviously all this stuff I kind of got from my books I would have shared with you guys. So
Okay, cool. Because afterwards, I'm gonna need to hear about like 3 of them because I wasn't listening.
Well, what 3 didn't you hear? Let's roleplay it out. Greg, regurgitate the information you have.
Red dragon, white dragon, and I think I heard part of the blue dragon.
So
I got to hear the
layout of
green
power,
dragon, though.
Avernus's information, and then
Yeah, I got to
Alright.
hear some of the rumors.
Okay, so red, we got Lord of the Realm is the blacksmith Barrick, mortal to transcendent power. He's got a black flame blade that destroys all. Rides a nightmare horse. He could potentially be a part of any fight we get into in Avernus, and he is the top dog. And so there's three major factions, I guess I should have started this with. He's one of them. The second is the Hellworms forces. He's a newer addition within the last 100 years. He was able to find the good graces of Tiamat. She's the face while he's the fist, and there's rumors that he might even be stronger than her. And then there is Tiamat, which is the third seat of power. Some of her major kind of movers and shakers is Archon the Cruel, which is her right hand man, and then the Handmaiden, which has very special privileges within the realm. There, as far as like not necessarily forces, but other major entities to kind of be aware of within this layer would be Bale. He's obviously used to be the ruler of it. There's the ghost of Zariel, who is slain by Barrick. And then there is Mad Maggie, who runs infernal machines and transports goods, as well as Chiron will occasionally appear. So that's what we got from the Reds.
Okay. Any reason why Barrick would just jump into every fight?
He is essentially just he's the ruler of this layer, so that's a big part of it, but also just it seems like he's just got this constant need for battle. That's
Okay.
kind of what I'm getting from it.
Good to know.
He keeps order, I guess is the better way to put it. He is tasked with keeping order here, so that's why he is part of every battle, is because that is part of the order.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you know what type of dragon the Hellworm is?
I didn't ask specifically.
There wasn't really a layout of who he was, but just I would say through passive looking and stuff like that into that realm of who he is, they would describe him. He's made of molten hellfire. He's a hellfire dragon of molten rock and iron. He's of hell. He is born of this realm. He is not stone and flesh and blood. He's fire and hate and evil and cunning and iron laws and things like that. He's
It'd be underworld in this. That's what I am as well.
yeah. He's literally pulled from this place. He is not crafted of carbon and stuff. He's crafted of hell. So
Okay.
that's what you get from it.
Gotcha. Okay. So we don't have much we can work with here as allies, it doesn't seem.
Nothing from what you've asked so far has been like good information for that. You now pretty much have the layout of the movers and shakers of both this encampment specifically. Like, hey, there's a division of power. There's the Hell forces, the Hellworms forces, and Tiamat's forces. They're very different. So far, you've only really run into Tiamat's forces and her minions and her stuff. You haven't run into the Hellworms stuff. You also know the biggest stuff belongs to Eric and his infernal legions that are fighting in the Blood War. There's that. But yeah, so you learned a lot, but there's nothing about like how to get in the Hellworms' good graces yet.
Right.
So there's that.
Okay. So that was the red dragon stuff. What did the white dragons have?
So they're more of just like what is this layer of hell? So I mean, it's a blasted wasteland. Water is going to be hard to come fire. Rains, hellfire, and brimstone. Lakes of river and fire, or rivers of fire and blood. There are dead elder demons that are kind of around. Cybrex was one of the ones, and they could shape flesh. And then there was New Eden was recently destroyed by Barrick. But one of the kind of weird things is it seems like there's a lot of survivors from it. And just kind of the blood war is constantly raging here is kind of the other big thing. So
Okay. And then any What were the gossip and the blues?
So we're rumor number 1. There kind of was some more allusion to the rule of the Court of the Dragons, which is an ancient law that was set by Kethra. Basically, every realm of existence, there should be a dragon's guardian of the realm, and the realm will give a power to the dragon in exchange. When a dragon needs to pass on that power, another dragon needs to claim it, whether it's given to them or one could also just come and take it. There is speculation right now that Bahamut might have perished and that his power is up for grabs. And then I at least kind of, when I was reading that, I kind of got a feeling welling up beside me with like, that sounds like it's up for the taking. And
Gotcha.
Cosmic Law, or at least from what we understand, the Cosmic Law is if somebody can get there, they can claim it.
But we got to get to heaven. And
Yes.
That seems pretty rough right now.
Mm.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So that's what I missed out on then. Well, I think if anything, we need to look at getting ourselves stronger. So I think the idea, I don't know why you want a soul coin, but hearing you want one was kind of intriguing. You might be able to talk her out of it. Go talk to that person. Or deal with her.
Ondol kind of brings up, you said this one's some sort of fallen devil or something? What is this?
I would go into description on that from what you explained to me.
Black fiery wings, halo of fire, yeah, that kind of shit. Flaming weapons, flaming sword. He nods.
We potentially could talk, but from what it sounds like, it's only a matter of time whether she's hunted down by ourselves or somebody else. If we're going to gain power here, it seems like they would be one of the people that we should more likely slay rather than try to talk down. Because if we don't finish her off, seems like, as I go look back at my note, dragon we talked to earlier, Faramir will just find her later himself.
I'll look at you and be like, how would dragons perceive us if we attack them?
Depends on the size.
Well,
A whelp would, obviously, we would probably be able to take care of whelps. However, we better hope that one of their parents are not nearby. Otherwise, they will easily consume us without any real. I don't think we'd be able to fight anyone that would be able to sire a dragon in this age. If it was anything young adults or adults, they would likely want to challenge us due to just our nature of arrival here and the fact that, well, we already know that we're rumor number 1, so if they were to mess with that, that alone would get them prestige. So we will be a target by any of the younger to adult dragons. Anything above that will be more their whim. Some will be intrigued, others will see us as a snack. So how we present ourselves and how we approach the scenario will greatly determine our likelihood of survival.
understood. Okay. Well, I meant more on a social scale. If we kill one of them because they attacked us, are we looked at as being in the wrong, or would we be accepted for defending
Even before you before you start like finishing that, he'll just have that like deep chuckle where it's like, good, bad. This is a land of strength. The strong tell the tale. The strong survive.
Understood.
Obviously there's rules, as like I mentioned. Yes, we could slay a whelp, but if it did nothing to provoke us and it was merely going about its existence, something else might feel the need to do the same to us. But we are being tolerated here as things must grow, so they allow the natural order to take over. If we don't step out of bounds, we might not get stepped on, but if we step out of bounds, we will.
Alright.
So, finish a fight, but don't pick a fight, says it.
That's what it sounds like.
Good to know.
Well, I would say stock up on good food. I can easily make us water. It's not a big deal. more or less my concern is once we leave, are we allowed to come back?
You do remember that it seemed like yes. Without being said, you do have that feel that you could probably come back here if you wanted to. You just have to make it back here.
Right.
I totally remembered something we meant to come back to earlier. Remember I mentioned I wanted to go talk to whoever the Herald of Tiamat might be.
Yes.
So I guess that's something else we'd want to do.
Yeah. So you probably would be setting that up for tomorrow. How are you going about doing that?
So obviously there's been like attendants and stuff like that have been in certain areas and stuff like that. As far as our bed chambers go, is there like room service, or like, when we walk out in the hallway, is there some sort of like, butler or something like that? Like what's the help like here?
There's a few Abishai that guard the wall, or like kind of staff the hallways around here. You could reach out to them.
I think that would probably be the most appropriate thing. So I'd probably just approach one of the standard like guards that are near our quarters, and I'd be like, I'd like to arrange a meeting with her mistress.
Great offering must be given then.
I present knowledge I believe that she would wish to know.
If you have something to tell her, you can do the same thing everyone else does. He leaves it at that unless you press.
I think I understand what he means by that. So, I guess I would go back to my room and attempt to pray to her then.
Ah, yes. So, my question to you. Do you think your character's ever prayed before?
No, don't.
So how does your character, who's never prayed before, approach this conundrum?
So obviously now, or because came from modern era, obviously concepts of gods and things were concepts. Here, actual living, breathing, can talk to him thing.
Literally granted you a power, and your friends a power. Is talking about cosmic scale stuff. Yeah, very real, very imposing figure. So continue.
So I guess the way he would imagine it would be more of a, since he has a tangibility to her, almost like a mental phone call, because he'd have come from an era of fucking cell phones and calls, so it'd be more of a, he'd imagine, or he'd close his eyes and imagine kind of like a blank scape, and would just kind of think, Mistress Tiamat, I believe you have, or I believe I have information that you'd wish to know. And I wish for an audience so I can present it.
What do you expect to happen?
Expectation-wise, he understands that this is a area of you. You're here to serve your lady. You do not give with intention to receive, but you have an understanding that if you do give, that gifts may be given. So it's not that he would do it with an expectation of getting gifted something, but more of a, he understands that he's a part of a greater plan here. So he understands that the more he works with the plan, maybe the more understanding of that plan, or whether it's a hint, a boon, a whatever he may receive. So he understands he's potentially been chosen to a certain degree, so he's not, obviously she's not going to answer all of her problems, or all the problems for him, but perhaps hints or boons might be given.
Okay. I'll let you decide this next part as well. When you first sit down to do this, in your thought process of your character's thought process of putting this together, and the words you said are pretty good. They sound transactional. They sound like, I give you this, you give me this. Now, in the back of your head, you're like, I don't expect this, and things like that. How reverent are you with this prayer? Is this a very informal, you're just sitting on the side of your bed, which is a very nice, lavish bed? Are you on your knees? Or do you light candle? Like, set the scene.
We never really got much of a description of the room itself, so I mean, how ornate, how lavish is this thing? Like super lavish, ornate, all that kind of stuff.
It's not the suite, but it's, one step down. It's a very nice guest room.
And then, is there any iconography? Perhaps pendants, altars.
There's a wall tapestry as well as a few idols and just art in the room. But there's a couple pieces that depict the five-headed lady.
So I would get in front of an idol. As I'm kind of doing this, get on my knees just because I you've seen holy people pray. We're in an area of gods and all of that time. Again, these are tangible. These are things I've talked to. And now kind of this feeling, like inside me, that there might be this potential, godhood up for grabs. I imagine that Voss kind of got this feeling inside him that maybe that could be mine. So rather than full prostration, like you're immediately my better, almost more approaching it like student and master is kind of the reverent that it would be.
Okay. So as you pray, you kind of get down, you do your thing, you say your words. You don't expect anything to happen. You feel inside you, this has to work. She's right here. She had to have been able to hear that. Now the question remains, are you important enough to get a direct line to her? You're not quite sure. You are getting tired. You did a lot of reading. So
I'd probably go to bed.
With that, you say your prayer, you lay down. A lot of you head to sleep, unless you have something you want to do, Horace.
I was just gonna ask, I'm carrying a piece of a god.
Mm-hmm.
Has that made any weird feeling since we've come to Avernus? Because things are sleeping here, and he's the god of sleep, so I was kind of wondering.
So, for you, you couldn't tell, but now that you ponder on it, this has been the nicest time you've ever had sleeping. You think back to stuff, you've never slept this well. Every single night, perfect night's rest. You wake up feeling great in the morning. You don't necessarily have dreams, but you have that you remember, but you know you're dreaming. And you know it's pleasant. And you wake up in a pretty decent mood, all things considered. Nothing crazy, nothing over the top, but now that you focus on that thought and are very aware of it, yeah.
You say nothing crazy, nothing over the top. Perfect night's rest every night? No, that's pretty fucking crazy. I'd kill for that. Are you kidding me?
In hell.
Yeah.
That's the best possible boon you can get. Jesus Christ.
On the winds, you'll hear the screams and torments of people and the dying yelps of imps and demons and all sorts of stuff. Nope. You sleep like a fucking baby.
Just
Is
white
that all
noise
of
at
us
that
or just
point.
him?
Just him.
Lucky son of a bitch.
The rest of you have been like you, Both. I imagine you're in your head a lot until you fall asleep. You're like,
Yeah,
there's
I
a
imagine
lot
I'm
of
having
stuff.
trouble sleeping just because like I'm thinking the whole fucking
Yeah,
time.
and there's a lot of things like I can unlock my own magical prowess. There's all these things that are going on. There's just so much. You're overwhelmed by that. And you can tell Ondol is actually meditating most of this time. He's gaining his trance back. He's learning how to kind of do a mix between trance and sleep. And he's actually able to get restful sleep. And he's kind of just quietly processing his own stuff for the most part. But it's much different from him pacing around all night and stalking and looking for something to kill. He actually feels like there's a small amount of safety in this moment, and he's taking it and just being very aware of it. But yeah. So the morning comes, or the morning in hell. You wake rested. What do you do today?
I think this might be a decent. I know it's a bit earlier, but I think this might be a decent place to call it, just in case
Good.
that we get Brett some feedback. Just
Yep.
because it's one of those might want to spend a little bit more time here, might not.
Mhm.
So at least get feeling of what
Always an
he might have
option.
wanted to do during that time, and then
Always
we
an
decide if
option.
we want to stay here longer or not. So
Well, in that case, if that's what we want to do, we'll call it for the evening, which is a good spot. We usually only go for like an hour more anyway, so call it good. We are going to leave on this scene right here. As you are waking up, Horace, you again, this is fucking amazing sleep. I love this. This is so good. You kind of look down at the small satchel you have of sleep's piece. You see Ondol up, kind of stretching, watching over everything. Voth, you wake up rested, and there's an excitement that you've felt for the past couple days, just being able to sit and learn and kind of grasp things. There's all these like trappings of like, there's little bits of power I can reach out and grab and gain and all this stuff. And there is, under the door, a small piece of paper that slides under. And it is for all of you. It's addressed to all of you. Do you open it now, or do you want to wait?
open it. Gotta build the tension.
As you open it, there are scratchings on this parchment. It says, "Usurpers, you take the power meant for true dragons. Those born of hell deserve this chance, not you. We challenge you. And if you have strength, answer the challenge and win, then it is truly your power to take. However, we request the pleasure of slaying you and parading your corpses around and taking the fight on dragon's wings. Respectfully, Neros and Ginicus, the Coldbringer and the Frosty Death, respectively. And it is signed by two creatures that are requesting a duel or fight. And that's where we'll call it. Outstanding. I know it was just the two of you guys, but I like where you went. I like the ideas you had. Some good shit. Hopefully you're caught up on some of the gear. I know I still need to give you some more. There's a couple items that you need to get. Which you'll probably get here soon after you do some stuff. And with that, yeah, if you guys like what you saw, there's clicky shit down below, like I said at the beginning of the episode, as well as we'll be here probably next week, if not the week after. One of us who's missing today is gonna be a daddy pretty soon, so we're we're on standby for that maneuver. Obviously, he'll want to be with the little one. It's a good place to be. So we'll adjust fire as needs be. So catch you all later. Have a great night. One of these things, not like the other.